Okay. So again, that slip is going to be on the counter tomorrow in clinic, and then individually sign up for the time that works the best for you. We've made it, there's a day in there where it would be opposite your clinic time. So it may be December 9th, it may be December 17th. If you don't happen to get one of those slots, they're still on the 16th, there'll be time opposite your clinic time. So you'll just have to look at the schedule, individually sign up. The link will be sent to you when it gets closer to your scheduled time. And again, it's going to be through, not Zoom, I'm sorry, it'll be through Teams, but you'll get a link to that. And what'll happen is a couple of minutes before your scheduled time, you'll log on to Teams just like normal. You'll be required to turn your camera on, and the faculty will also have our cameras on too, so you'll be able to see us. But in essence, what we're doing is a pretend interview with you, and we'll ask you a series of questions that are very plausible for you to be asked in an interview, and then we'll give you a chance to respond. And tomorrow when I get back to the school, because I'm at home today, but I'll put up a couple of lists of typical type questions that might be asked at an interview. A lot of times, Dr. Thurlow will ask for you to explain periodontal disease like you would to a patient. This is one of her favorite questions to ask. So I would actually write out a script on how you would ask or how you would explain periodontal disease to a patient, not to a coworker, not to an employer, but to an actual patient, okay? And then kind of rehearse that. It's really important for you guys to go out into the, working community knowing how to explain periodontal disease. But that's one question she likes to ask. Sometimes we'll throw you random off the wall questions like, what's the most recent book you read? Or if you could be an animal, what would you be? So don't be surprised. You will get some questions like that in an interview too sometimes. So we're just trying to prepare you as much as we can for that experience. And then you'll get feedback from us as soon as we ask the series of questions. So again, the interviews are typically about 15, 20, 25 minutes long. And the three of us will just take turns asking you questions. So it'll be Director Beckerly, me, and Dr. Thurlow all on the Teams call with you. We expect you to come prepared. So we expect you to come wearing professional clothing that you would wear for your interview. And we can talk about that in just a second. But we also expect you to be rehearsed in some of the things that we would ask you. We don't want you to be nervous. It's a relaxed type of experience, but some of you may have never been on an interview before. So it's just an opportunity for you to practice and kind of get an idea of what questions they might ask on a dental interview. If we feel like maybe you didn't do such a great job at the interview, which that has only happened once, and then we also had another student request that she have more practice interviewing. And so as part of, there are some people in the administrative building that's their job, is to kind of help prep with interviews too. So if we feel like you need that extra help, we'll refer you over to them to do a second interview. Does anybody have any questions though right now about the sign-up sheet or kind of what to expect from the actual interview part? Okay.
I don't think so.
Again, we want you guys to come dressed professionally for this. So you can wear whatever you would wear to a interview. Dentistry is a pretty conservative profession. So just be mindful of how you dress as far as, now clearly we're not gonna be able to see the bottom half of you, but in a traditional interview, if you were going out into the community, you wouldn't want to wear, and this would go for anything, you guys know what's appropriate and what's not, nothing too short. So no short skirts, and no really low cut tops. You can have like maybe an undershirt that kind of protects your cleavage. if your shirt is a little more low cut. It's totally fine to wear jewelry. It's totally fine to wear makeup. Those things are appropriate in our field. And it's even appropriate to wear scrubs if you're going to an interview. We want you guys to come for your mock interview dressed appropriately for outside of scrubs, but just know that in our field, sometimes you might be looking for, you already have a job and you're looking for another job, so you might have to go after work, and it's fine to go in your scrubs. But for our experience, we want you to come dressed professionally. A lot of women in our profession will wear slacks and like blazers, but it's okay to wear a dress. It's okay to wear a skirt as long as they're appropriate length. And I know some students in the past, clearly we can't see your shoes, but usually during non-COVID times, we have you come to campus, so we see the full thing. But students ask, should I wear closed-toed shoes? Is it okay to wear pumps? All this stuff. It is fine to wear open-toed shoes. It's fine to wear a short heel. Just so you guys know, in our profession, that's totally acceptable, but you don't want to wear like a 6-inch heel. That's not appropriate. But you want to look your best. You want to look nice. You want to be presentable. You want to be respected when you go in for your interview. So just keep that in mind as you're dressing. And for us, if you would like additional feedback with your resume, I know Dr. Thurlow has been really working hard with you guys on that. So if you want to submit your resume to Director Beckerly and to me in advance of the interview to get additional feedback, please feel free. A lot of Director Beckerly and I both pretty much know you guys' background, whether or not you've been in dentistry. So if you've been in dentistry, you can expect us to ask questions about your previous experience. But feel free, if you want to send your resumes through email in advance, you can totally do that. It's not a requirement though. But when you guys go out interviewing, you should always have a couple extra resumes and reference pages in your, like a little binder or something that you take with you so that you can just hand it to them and they immediately know. Somebody's asking, should we be asking our interviewers questions like we would for a job interview? You totally can. Just know that, because this experience is totally for you. So just know that we don't have like something already outlined, like a pretend type of office that we are hiring for. But Dr. Thurlow does like to say, because she is an employer, you guys, she has a private practice. So she sometimes will ask during this process of the interviewees, like, what is it that you're looking for in a dental office? It's perfectly appropriate for you guys to ask those things. I recommend that you ask about the office itself, because it's both ways. You're interviewing them and they're interviewing you. So you want to make sure it's the right fit for you too. So yes, you can ask those questions if you want. Again, by tomorrow, I will put up on Canvas just some random questions that you could expect to be asked. I would definitely look over those in advance. We're not doing our first mock interviews until December 9th. So you guys have over a week to look at the questions and kind of prepare yourself for that. But it's an opportunity for you at the end of the interview to ask any additional questions and to get feedback on how you did. And we're usually, we'll just take turns. The three of us will go around saying, we think you did really well on this. You might want to work a little bit more on this. The areas that we see students struggle the most is explaining periodontal disease to a patient, and then also selling themselves, because you've got to, in an interview, you've got a short amount of time to let that potential employer know who you are. You want to go in there and be yourself. You don't want to pretend to be somebody you're not, because then you might end up finding yourself in an office where your personality isn't a good fit for everybody else. And you want them to appreciate you for who you are. So be honest and be your true self. If you're very, very bubbly, go ahead and let that come out and shine, because there's some offices that really want that and they're looking for that. And if you're not, if you're a little more reserved, that's totally fine too. So every office is looking for something different, and you just don't want to go in and be somebody you're not. I'm trying to think if there's anything else really for the interview part to prepare you guys for. I don't think so. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about for this class is you have your final grade is basically making your final exam, which ends up becoming your final project for this class, is building a schedule, and there's steps involved in doing that. And I'm going to go ahead and upload that to Canvas by tomorrow so you guys can start working on it. You'll have the next 3 weeks to complete it. It won't be due until the last day of class. But I thought I'd go ahead and give it to you guys sooner so you can start working on it. But you'll see I'll upload, there's 10 steps, and I just broke down the steps so it's a little bit easier for you to work on. But in essence, what you're doing is you're going to be creating a month's fake schedule for a dental office where you are coming up with a production goal for 2 dental hygienists for $90,000. And the steps walk you through that process. It's a really easy project to do, so don't get overwhelmed. But it's so you guys start to kind of see how dentistry is a business, and so you can't just go in there and loaf around. You actually have to be productive team member for your office if you want to continue to be employed somewhere. And I'm going to allow you guys, normally I assign you groups of 5 or 6 per group, but for your group, since you're so unique with COVID, I'm going to let you either work individually on the projects, or if you want to work in groups of 5 or 6 people and you want to find your own groups, you can totally do that. So I will get that stuff uploaded by tomorrow so you can start working on it, and just feel free to ask me any questions. It's pretty self-explanatory with the steps. I think that's about it. You'll upload it to Canvas just like everything else. Now, with your mock interviews, you guys, you just get points for doing it. We're not necessarily grading you. Where you're going to get instant feedback, but you're not going to get, like, as long as you do it, you're going to get your full credit for it. Any questions? All right, well, that's all I had. So we will see you guys tomorrow in clinic. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.